How's it going there, everyone? It's Mr. Zen over here bringing us a brand new anime discussion for today. And for today's segment, guys, we're going to be talking about a brand new anime that I just saw, finally caught up to it, finally caught up to this anime that I'm actually excited to talk about, that I kind of want to get this out on video, guys. And this anime that I'm actually talking about is Bloodivores, or as the Chinese would say, the time-space traveling prisoners. And I'm here thinking that this anime, guys, is worth to mention, actually, to talk about. Not gonna lie to you guys. So without further ado, guys, let's get on this episode because I finally caught up to episode 1 to episode 10, and I'm gonna be actually talking about my thoughts on this actual anime that has actually been showing. And I'm thinking to myself that, you know, this anime has a lot to offer and has a lot of storyline that's actually involved in it. But like I said, there are some loopholes, as not every story is always perfect, as there's always a biased opinion on everyone else's actual opinions themselves. Like I said, the story is pretty well, but without further ado, guys, let's get started. Now, in episode 1, I would say that this episode was actually more along the lines as like the flashiest episode that I've seen in intros, I would say, due to the fact that in episode 1, you know, you're here wondering, like, they give you a good setting, honestly. You know, it's like 4 main characters, they're just trying to rob a bank, and then they, you know, and you're here wondering, like, oh, you know, these characters, you know, they are actually very entertaining due to the fact that, you know, you're wondering, like, it's the start of a sequence of events that are actually unfolding, and you're here wondering as to what's going to be happening. But like I said, the story kind of goes on a quickly pace due to the fact that, you know, the story keeps rising in action every single time throughout each of the episodes. And that's what I kind of liked about it, was the fact that it's able to grab the attention of the viewer and you're actually able to follow the story. But you know, throughout some of the episodes, you do kind of lose track of what's going on because sometimes it doesn't start to make sense as the episodes continue on. But I would say episode 1 was the one that actually had originality, and I would say that it kind of felt like the storyline itself should have went along with that route instead of going off in tangents as the rest of the episodes kind of went on. But hear me out, guys. The reason I'm saying this is because of the fact, like I said, episode 1 was the most entertaining one because of the fact that, like I said, the main heroes or villains, or however you want to see it, it's kind of hard to distinguish if they're really heroes or villains. But like I said, for us, it's heroes. But in the episode you're here looking at, and they're robbing a bank. They're trying to, I'm assuming something for insurance fraud. I'm not too sure. But the heroes get caught. But throughout all this, it's a vampire anime, guys. That's the thing that kind of intrigues me about it, is that it's a freaking vampire anime. But the way that they kind of imply is that, you know, throughout most of the episodes that they kind of show, they don't really imply that they're really vampires themselves. They do mention it a couple times, but you necessarily don't see them as bloodthirsty vampires. Instead, you see them as these people that are more like ravaging for not necessarily human flesh, but they go like on this kind of like a berserk stage that kind of sends them on a lunatic spring, which kind of implies as the world setting itself, because the fact that, you know, they have these collars that kind of, it labels the police to enable it and find them if somebody's actually out of control, because of apparently the world itself, they kind of developed some kind of new drug that kind of made into these so-called vampires. Like I said, it's so much dialogue involved in the episode, but the episode itself, the first episode was kind of like I said, they're in a robbery, then they're in a chase scene, they get caught at the end of the episode, and the second episode kind of involves them after what they get caught by the police. Like I said, the first episode is like literally like a girlfriend and like hero. They're just like having their own kind of little intimacy moments. It's kind of weird right there, but you're kind of wondering as to how they're gonna go along with that kind of storyline. But like I said, though, they're gonna go on off tangents after the first episode, because the fact that while they're keeping that lore itself right there, that, you know, these guys are bank robbers. In the second episode, it kind of went on along as say that, you know, they're gonna be sentenced to trial, and then all of a sudden these characters are gonna they die. Apparently, they die, but no. Apparently, these characters were actually framed, and apparently, what had happened was they're sent to this weird warehouse that apparently right there and then, in this warehouse, they have to kind of, it switches instead into a robbery, and then from and then they go into a murder case, and then from a murder case it goes on to a survival game. Like I said, the storyline went so fast and transpired that you literally thought like all of this could have been explained in a couple more episodes, but they didn't. Instead, this anime wants to keep it pure action oriented, and that's the thing. Like I said, I love action anime, and I love the way that the series is going, but like I said, you gotta be careful though not to go on too much tangents, because the fact that they, like I said, this anime after a while doesn't kind of really make sense, because while they're in the warehouse it kind of does take the bulk of the episodes itself, because after that you see the main characters Milu, Chang Fong, Anji, and Wing Chao. These characters themselves, they start going their separate routes, because in the first episode they were all together, but near the end of the episode they kind of start digressing from themselves, and they all think that like they're out to get each other. There's probably a spy. Like I said, as the episodes continue, you know, you're wondering, Milu and Anji, they separate themselves because apparently then these kind of like xenomorph creatures come out when they're at the warehouse, and it separates all the crew members. Like I said, it kind of starts transpiring you out of nowhere. Like it just seems like the story writers had something concrete to actually work with, but instead they actually started losing the lore itself. Like I said, it didn't really kind of make sense as to what they were doing, but like I said, it still keeps the viewer entertained throughout the whole entire time, due to the fact that, you know, you're wondering what's going to go on with each of the characters, and every episode's always entertaining because we do get some background information on most of the actual characters themselves, and a lot of mystery with one particular is the Anji, the female lead. Even though she doesn't do much throughout the whole of the series that's been going on, but there's something mysterious about her that kind of begs the question as to say, what is she involved with throughout the murder case? Why was there a robot that actually looked like her? Like I said, it was just so much going on. And as the episodes progress, like I said, the main characters themselves, these vampires that are out in the world, they actually have superpowers. Like they call them hemomancers. I'm assuming because hemo stands for blood, and the mancer kind of like a magician. So like these hemomancers can, like, I don't know, bend walls, crush concrete, push people 100 feet away. Like I said, the story goes off on tangents from there, but it's entertaining. Don't get me wrong, it's entertaining. But like I said, when these xenomorphs actually come in, I'm calling them xenomorphs because they really didn't give them a name, by the way. It's kind of weird why they didn't really get a name. They just call them creatures and monsters. But then, like I said, all the characters kind of spread out. But this spreading out kind of makes it a survival game. But you're here wondering, why is it a survival game? Who's actually orchestrating all these events? And then the main female lead dies throughout the rest of the episodes, and you're here wondering as to what the heck is going on. You know, the main character is going through so much traumatization that you kind of feel sorry for the same main character, but it's still kind of weird as to how they're kind of going with it. But the thing about the main character is that there's something mysterious with him, due to the fact that since he's a half human and a half like vampire, you could kind of say, or a bloodivore, as you could kind of say. And you're here wondering as to what the heck, how is he a half human, half this? Like, was his mother part of one of the vampires and the father was part human? Like, we don't know that too sure. They're still kind of vague with that part of the storyline. And also, you know, like I said, you actually get Wing Chao's also supporting male character, but he kind of seems like the most weaker characters of the whole entire series, because the fact that, you know, he's the one that kind of commits suicide. But as the episodes progress, you literally see him actually start becoming more and take a more leadership role. But that's due to the fact of this actual new character that kind of involves himself, and that is Lu Yao. Lu Yao, the devil himself, as some of the inmates call themselves. They themselves call him the devil because of the fact that, like, he's a very strong hemomancer, and he's able to destroy monsters. He's basically like the god of this brand new world that they're at. And like I said, the setting itself is kind of weird because Lu Yao seems to be like a Deus Ex Machina character, just to make the story progress even better. Like, every time the story starts getting a little less interesting, they use this character Lu Yao as a person that said, oh, we can't wait to see this character fight, because he has a one-hit KO with every time he enters the scene. But you're here wondering, like I said, no, we want to see more what the main characters are going through. We don't want to see what this character do. Even though he is the antagonist of the whole series, at first he started off as one that could actually help out, but as slowly as they kept characterizing this character and showing more of his abilities and qualities and persona, you see that he's actually starting to become more of an antagonist, because of the fact that he's actually one of the strongest hemomancers in the series. like I said, it's interesting how they're going. Like I said, it's all action based, and the lore itself is just gonna keep entertaining you. But it's kind of like the whole story is just 1,000 ideas put together, which kind of still doesn't make any sense. Now, as the episodes do continue on, don't get me wrong, they do explain a little bit what the Hemomancer can do. And apparently there's more than one Hemomancer. At first, in the beginning, it was the confusing part that kind of didn't make any sense, was the fact that we thought only the main character is the one that can do all those superpowers. But no, apparently, there's so many other characters can do it as well that you don't even know that who else can do. And apparently it seems that other characters can actually gain their Hemomancer powers as well. Like I said, it's kind of weird as to how they're going, because a brand new character that I forgot to mention, his name is Li Shin. He's like one of the most badass characters of this whole series, because he's like this swordsman, assassin that is so overpowered. He's able to take down monsters with his bare hands and just strike. And like I said, the way they introduced this character was so entertaining. But I like how they kind of use him as a comic relief character with him having a phobia with women, which I thought was kind of hilarious. But it kind of downplays his characters as to say that, you know, you're so powerful, but we're gonna downplay you with woman. Like I said, it kind of balances itself out for his own character archetype. But like I said, though, this character, like I said, throughout the episodes, you see him as a very prevailing character, and he has his own missions to his side. And actually, they even gave us a little bit of a fight between Liu Yao and Li Shin, as these two characters are the strongest characters in the series so far, aside from the main character. But these two characters have yet to fight again. But as the episodes continue, and episode 10, it seems that Li Shin becomes then the antagonist, because of the fact that once a person gets their hemo powers, it apparently becomes that they go into this berserker rage. Like I said, it just apparently, like, every time the story's connecting, they kind of involve themselves in a brand new Deus Ex Machina little scene where something horrible happens or a character is set off somewhere. Like I said, it doesn't make sense. Like I said, the story is still balanced, but in some parts it's kind of scattered. And you could tell that the main animators are trying to bring the story together. Honestly, though, you know, if you guys actually look at the lore itself, you guys also might be a little confused also at the fact that they introduce this other side character that then becomes the actual central figure of the actual episodes. Like I believe it was like around episode 7 or 8, they involved this little girl named Yaya that is able to revive other vampires themselves, but we don't know as to how she can do it because she did it off screen. Granted, though, it seems that she's good, even though she's a side character and is actually filling in these filler episodes. But I feel like they're trying to cue in that character and making her more important as the episodes progress, because of the fact that Liu Yao is actually going to be able to see that this character is actually important, because apparently Liu Yao is able to see that everybody themselves, this game that they're playing, is actually more relevant than it actually sees, even though everybody is in there just for the kicks and they're just trying to survive. But no, there is actually more at stake that is going around. And that's the thing about it too, guys, that I love about this series, is the fact that, you know, even though it's still going off on tangent, it's still able to collect itself up from out of nowhere. Honestly, that's the thing I like about it. That, you know, I love the lore that it's actually being able to shows a little bit of creatures, a little bit of supernaturalness. The thing I don't like about it is the time traveling aspect. That's what I don't like. If it didn't really have that, the anime would be actually perfect. The anime would be perfect due to the fact that out of everything seems a little bit out of logical, because the fact that everything's not in chronological order. But because the time traveling thing, it won't make sense, because the fact that the way that they kind of set themselves up, the technology that's involved in this world doesn't make any sense. Like I said, the time traveling aspect just doesn't make sense. Or if not, what won't make sense is the fact that if it's not time travel, then maybe all this is actually an illusion, and I'm just hypothesizing, because the fact that the way that this world is set up, it seems like as if these people are plugged into like a virtual reality. Now that I personally might believe, because of the fact that every Bloodivore or person themselves, they're actually becoming stronger as the episodes progress. Like I said, it's entertaining to see how they're going. And like I said, Milu himself, his character is shown to be a very strong and stern character, because he's actually able to actually face against the devil himself, Liu Yao, in a very calm, collective manner in there. Granted though, like I said, honestly, I give this series an 8 out of 10 due to the fact that, you know, this series, if it's polished just a slightly bit, honestly, this series would be actually great. And I don't mean the animation, because trust me, I've seen other anime that have been horrible horrible, and no, that does not affect the story. Honestly, I am sometimes more there for story-wise itself, and I'm loving the fact that how the story is going. But if they just polished it a little bit better, this anime would be really outstanding. It's outstanding right now, but it's just the fact that, like I said, some parts they do go off on tangents, but like I said, this anime is still worth to look at though. Still worth it. And like I said, episode 10, you guys are looking at episode 10 and you guys are wondering as to what Lee Shin is probably gonna die, and personally I believe that he's not gonna die, as it seems that he seems like a fan favorite out of the fans. And it seems that Lee Shin's character development seems to be, like, even though he's at this berserker mode, it seems that with this berserker mode, it might lead onto a brand new arc that it might be involved, or at least it'll show the characters some kind of leverage as to Liu Yao or some kind of villain, or show them that this world themselves is not what it seems, and that they can actually break the boundaries and limits of what each of the persons can do. But I would say that's it for all the episodes from episode 1 to episode 10. Like I said, they're entertaining nonetheless. But like I said though, props to Howliner's animation company, as this actual animation company, I've been noticing I've been watching a lot more of their animation and videos, and they're actually pretty good, honestly, in all aspects. I actually enjoy the fact that they're actually able to come out with these brand new, these Chinese/Japanese animes. And this series is actually based off, I believe, a webcomic itself, so I'm actually excited to see what this series will actually hold at the end of the season. So like I said, I say, folks, give it a shot. Give this anime a wonderful shot, and personally I feel that anybody would actually be entertained nonetheless. Like I said though, this anime is still worth to look at. But let me know down in the comments below, guys, as to what you guys' thoughts on the anime itself. What was your favorite scene? Who is your favorite character? As my favorite character is Lee Shin, as his character just seems OP and very wonderful. And what do you guys think of actually Angie? What are you guys' aspects as to, is she really a traitor, or is she another robot in itself? Personally, I think she's another robot because she's still mysterious as how they introduce her. And what do you guys think of Win Chao's character development? I feel like this character is gonna die, honestly, because of the fact that he's doubting himself throughout each and every one episode, and for his self-redemption, I feel like he's gonna die due to that fact that in order to actually become better with his friends and saying that it's all my fault. And for Chen Fong's, I feel like he might live, but I feel like he might be gravely injured as the series progresses, or he might actually be psychologically damaged. Like I said, for his character, it's still a little hard to determine, but let me know down in the comments below. Like I said, let me know what you guys think of this anime. And my first impressions off of this anime, folks, like I said, it's still wonderful, and I am enjoying it right now. And I'll finish reviewing the series on the next episodes. But like I said, though, guys, that's all for today, folks. Like I said, hope you guys are having a wonderful day. But if you guys enjoy my content, give a like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Fall 2016 anime. And check out my other playlist where I also review other Fall 2016 anime. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day. But this is Mr. Zen, signing out.
Thank you.